Okay, so for the test, it will look very, very similar to the review. So if you've been working through the review and the review hasn't been terrible, you'll be all right. Also, I made the review a bit tougher than I think the test is. So if you can do the review, you'll be fine on the test. So things to work on. When you're making your conjectures, make sure you have, so conjectures need evidence. And try to make them as specific as possible. Okay? And use examples if you think that your wording is unclear, or if you're unsure of how to say something, then just use examples. It will help you a little bit clearer. And when you make your observations, so for inductive reasoning, then you can use those observations to make your conjecture. So inductive, know the difference between inductive and conductive reasoning. So that's really, sorry, deductive. That's really important, okay? So know that inductive goes from specific examples to general rules, well, where deductive goes from basically a general statement to a specific example. Okay, so know that inductive goes from small to big and deductive goes from big to small, and be able to tell the difference. And there's examples of that in your review. So like the multiple choice questions 4 through 6, yeah. And then even number 2. So that's inductive reasoning. Again, look for patterns. A lot of the times if it seems like it's too obvious, it's not too obvious. We're just trying to get you to think logically. So that rain question, just look for patterns in order to make a conjecture. And remember that we're always trying to find counterexamples. And counterexamples are an example that does not fit your conjecture. Okay, because we're not trying to prove our conjecture, we're trying to disprove our conjecture. And then when you're using the counterexample, you only need one. So if you're doing like example 3 in the 1.3 notes, and it was consider the difference between consecutive perfect square numbers, you just need to find one that doesn't work, and then you're done. Okay, you don't have to keep finding more unless I say find 2 counterexamples. 1.4 was proving conjectures with deductive reasoning and proofs. So when you're working with proofs, just remember those common errors that are in 1.4 notes on page 3. So false assumptions or generalizations, errors in calculation, errors in reasoning, division by 0. Don't forget the division by 0 one. A lot of people forget that one, but it's really important. And so if I give you a proof, just be aware of what's going on there and what the mistake could be. And then also try a couple Venn diagram examples. And so remember that a Venn diagram is those 2 circles. Sometimes there's 3. And again, you can Google Venn diagram problems and practice if you want. The key to remember is that if a person is counted in the both category, you can't include them in A or B. Okay, so if something's been put in A plus B, it can't be in A or B. It has to be in the A plus B, okay? And again, there's an example of that in your review. It's on page 2 and 3. There's 2 of them actually. And then to determine logic games and puzzles, we can use inductive and deductive reasoning. Okay, so like we just did in the notes on page 3 of 1.5, identifying the pattern and determining the unknown term, that's a pretty common thing to be asked to do. So if you're given, again, like 15, 45, 135, unknown, 1215, and 3645, being able to find this missing term and what the pattern is that you used is pretty common. And again, you have examples of that in your review. And then lastly, there's logic games. There's a good logic game on page 4 of the review. Work through it slowly, okay? And try not to look at the answer key until you have done it. So each clue is very important, and so use the clues that you're given. And then the Sudoku games. So same thing. And again, I will probably have 1, maybe 2 Sudoku games on the test. So get some practice on that. Know that the second Sudoku on the review is classified as a medium puzzle, so it's quite a bit harder. So if you're really struggling with that one, it's okay. Just try as far as you can get and go practice some easy ones. I will not put one that is that difficult on the test. So if you have any questions, let me know. Be sure to find your lowest quiz mark and find it by percentage. Write it on that little slip of paper, bring it to me on Tuesday, and then any NHIs. Okay, if it's a quiz, then write down which quiz it is and come and tell me on Tuesday. We'll get that out for you to write. If it's an assignment, just make sure you get it into me so you can get the marks, because you don't want to lose any marks that you've already done. Okay, so I'll see you guys on Tuesday, and have a good weekend.